reading. Now we have our first teacher, who is kind of a guest of honor. We kind of have two guests of honor tonight, which we did. George and I, we're here all the time. But our first guest of honor, Brandon Pitts, the writer, who is also Simon Occulis, the painter. So a big round of applause for Simon. So I have these two poetry books, and I'm just feeling generous tonight, so I'm not selling them. Anyone who wants one, just grab it. I don't care. I don't want to go home with any, and I just felt like it, so I brought them. But you can make a donation that goes to Foy House. You can make a donate. Please do that instead. And anyway, I am a forward-thinking person, and I've been kind of keeping my newer poetry kind of secret for a long time, and I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with it. I got a 120-page poetry collection that I'm really, really proud and happy of. So I'm going to debut some of that tonight.
Yay.
And yeah. I stood, looking out to the failing empire, vast expanse, human sprawl, or terminal patience foretold strange futures, peacocks spurning the sparring fowl, hornets in the apiary, children choked with succor, washed in viscid delights. So I conversed with my generation, who broadcast my crimes in uncompromising terms, scholars throwing rocks, unaware of hail and monsters deep, woken by plastic down in the reef. Speaking without pleasing, cursing, casting shadow. Oh, bitter feelings, warlike tribes, who used to be brethren, portioned by Jesus, now quartered by lies. Norman about to say. So, Kamal Khashoggi was this Saudi journalist who was very critical of the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Dr. Norman, I'm refreshing his memory. And Mohammed bin Salman likes to portray himself as this reformer. You know, he's made it so women can drive and go to sporting events, and he brought cinemas to Saudi Arabia so you can go see movies now. And he's all green and making sustainable cities, and Kamal Khashoggi is like, no, he's a monster, he does this and that and that. So Kamal, well, in Istanbul, Khashoggi goes into the Saudi embassy while his fiancée is waiting in the taxi cab to get a marriage license. It's Istanbul, right? Yeah, the embassy in Istanbul, the Saudi embassy. And he never comes out. And she goes in, he never came in. Well, we saw him, there's CTV footage. So, you know, this becomes a big international scandal. And so the US government, knowing that our phones, our Fitbits, every device in our house is like surveilling every second of us, recording every move. Everything we do is a data line on the cloud. They forced Apple to release all the data from when he went into the embassy. And there's a recording of him being murdered, and they took a bone saw and cut him into little bits to get rid of the body. And so this
Now I remember.
Now you remember. This is Khashoggi. Oh Khashoggi, where are you now? Hovering above us from your death-like perch, unable to warn of one-man rule over the house of Saud, where money flows and bone saw cuts. You cannot help us, Khashoggi. There is no corpse for women to wash, no grave for your fiancé to mourn. All that's left is a vision for the future, 2030. Where women can drive in solar-powered crafts hovering over sand, speeding towards the lined city of Neom. Oh, Allah, forgive him. Oh, Allah, strengthen him. Save his people, save all others who are fated to drown in this young man's reign, where women can sit in sports arenas and the cinemas shine like Lumiere in the days of old Paris, in an age where motion pictures are now Facebook Live. And like that black teenager when the first responder shot him in the back, Your last moments and dying wail were uploaded to iCloud, along with pictures of dogs, cats, overindulgent sexed-up selfies, Sally's Fitbit steps, and Harold's porn history. Like all that, your death shall be preserved for eternity, property of Apple, while the machinery of an ambitious nation grinds. Your spirit, as per user agreement, hovers above us, unable to warn, and there shall be no admonition, no revelatory call. Just as life has ended, finite, like the supply of black crude plumped from your countrymen's shores. Sorry, I'm forgetting my poem. You got it screwed up one time. Come from your countrymen's shores. Because it was recorded on the day you died by your extravagant, overly priced smartwatch. Poorly crafted, built by robots as artisan watchmakers look on and cry. Crushed by giants, they too will watch as their world dies, along with books, bookstores, albums, novels crafted by humans, cash, and the eventual destruction of cinema and banks. Don't your murderers know? Technology also has destroyed the perfect crime. No matter, Khashoggi, they will not pay. For unlike you, power never dies. I want to read something for young poets, and so cry out, young lovers. This night is for you. Bold is the worship of desire and the hedonistic twine of youth. Throw off your shackles and your parents' book of rules. They know not the secrets of your tribe called age. At midnight, spit on hallowed ground. For within words lies the combusting fires of now. And when the bough breaks, smash glass, burn it. For bold is the worship of desire, and sauvage, the hedonistic twine of youth. Another new one. This one's called Disembodied Lord. A slang term I once heard for a certain sacred mushroom that has entheogenic and Christological properties to it. We wandered foul streets in search of disembodied Lord. Mandrake screeching, banshee howling like parents, begging us to stall our journey down to score sacrament from the mummified head. Yeah, we never thought those kids shooting dope in basements were cool. No, we stayed within the rings of Saturn, above confusion, violence, gravity, hate, leaving that for others down on the planet, those who can only pray for a life that resembles heaven, above as it is below. Here's another new one which I've read before. I read it here, but I'll do it again. At the center of the world rises Burj Khalifa, gazing down at people milling like ants, crawling into pods, rooms by IKEA, eating manufactured food served on pressboard planks. Let them eat cultured steak bought with UBI, debited to phones by camera-bought checkers, so sons of vast fortune can be kept cool in hot weather. While those within destiny inhabit the tower, while these pod walls are erected with studs manufactured from recycled toilet paper tubes. While those in destiny inhabit the tower, their vision spans the wealth of nations down to the lowest plot, peering into bedrooms, drawing money from the sun, while scarabs on the hill work to digest their dung. Hordes in the west, slaves to bread and meat, walk without purpose through the bitter valley of battered luck and biting wind, as a nation pulls its jackets tight, no longer at the center. Oh, to stand at the center where grass beats the desert back like the canals of old Atlantis, where sails her golden barge to platinum fountains, where water and light meet in conjunction with the military stance of Eris, goddess of chaos and discord at the gates of the internet city, where I sat in a mud-walled cafe in the village of Daba, reverse negotiating her virginity with the ghost of her dead father. Now I'll pull some older stuff out of my hat. I'm kind of winging it tonight. So. Yeah, I've been working way too much. I feel like my cup is overflowing. But, anyway, here's one from Honey Bear. In a stone garden I sat, waiting. I had visions of you as a child, the dark Madonna sands the suckling babe. You would answer the calls of the priests each Wednesday in the evening their time. But then I came from the high country to the sea to teach them religion, and you no longer had to suffer their ways. Now your body will be touched by one who is rightly guided, and you will know that love comes from some other place. And when that demon of self-destruction lies dormant asleep, you'll hear whisper of your worth. Then I will call you Magdalene. Together we shall be. The first time in 10 years I didn't time my set.
Okay, you've got up to, you're only at 13 minutes, so you can go 7 more if you like.
Okay, I'm just going to do one more poem. This is the poem I'm most proud of in life, and yeah, I read it all the time, but I do it for me, so sorry. I just love it, but yeah, I wrote it when my father's health was declining, and he passed away. But before he did, I was just sort of watching this slow, him just clinging to life, but I take solace in the fact, like according to physics, that if you travel far enough away in the universe, depending if you're pointed this way, he's been dead for centuries. If you're pointed slightly that direction, over here, he hasn't been born for centuries. So, he's still alive in according to quantum physics, basically, and the theory of relativity. So this is about that, in DNA, various ways of being immortal. A word spoken into flesh caused my being, like hum to static or consciousness returning. Beatitude will fall softly to lavish this sinner. With my arms pulled wide, I know you are lofty. Palm to palm, east to west, my thoughts have traveled, be it a millennia ago or centuries into the future, through folding patterns in time. Desire gave me body, while longing pumps this heart. A nail to keep my hands from reaching, thorns to keep my eyes from seeing, back before this life, to time where you put finger to lips and whispered, shh. You only have to remember that you are precious, and we are all born from love. But that far back I can no longer see. This earth and wood, limited by lifetimes, are nailed to my feet, leaving questions so simple, the answers are impossible to perceive. So I gaze out from this cross and see the sun illuminating clouds, highlighting colors. Blues, sepias, and whites. In my vision, I see storms, auras, and molecules that compose space and define shape, some moving, some pulsing, some breathing through infinite space, or my corpuscles are stars whose light warms planets, and my thoughts produce people who enter the world through mothers. And those who can stand while lying down are those who will travel in time, and those who can travel while sick will travel back lifetimes. Can my sweat create an ocean or just salt like the sea? Will my blood carry hadrons, each cell its own galaxy, where emotions create life, some fantastic light and some cancers? My thoughts like electric pulses spilling out, spiraling down into a slow winding helix, leaving my eternal eye to swirl in a space where lifetimes are spent crossing a 2-second divide, only to flatten into cubes, where my final inhale pulls it into a thin-hued line where I will transfigure and every particle will shine like passengers to polar caps, a trillion light years away in a millisecond of a history so ancient it was forgotten before it takes place on some distant shore, the same bank in some other vicinity, where my anguish releases storms and my hour true meaning. Because those who would destroy it are loved with equal measure to those who would build it. Because each time I strike in anger and my fist hits a prison wall, and each time I expound laughter, I share in the life of a beloved child. And if I can find it in myself to forgive, then the universe will know joy, and then I will understand peace, and my light will never expire, to transform beyond this final breath to the center of the universe and the very last ripple at the center of time and the experience I have chosen. And therein lies the traveler, for we are all different degrees of the same light. By giving me life, you have forced me to make mountains. And to my Father's hopes, his expectations will create this situation in me. As I am made in his image, am I a God like he? If I leave this trial, will everything I've created cease? Is this how a small creature becomes king? Then this I will do, because you asked me. Thank you.